Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating and honestly pretty personal. It's how AI isn't just this tool we pick up and put down anymore. It's actively, maybe subtly rewiring our brains.
Yeah.
We're talking everything from like the basic neurochemistry right up to how we make decisions, how we regulate our emotions. And look, this isn't science fiction. This is happening right now inside us.
Exactly. And, whether you're just mindlessly scrolling through a feed, maybe on your phone right now.
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe you're using tools like ChatGPT for, work or learning something new. This conversation, it's directly relevant to your experience right now. It's really about trying to see that invisible hand that's shaping how we think.
Okay, so let's unpack that. We hear a lot about dopamine, the feel-good chemical.
Right.
But I gather it's more complicated than that. Is AI actually hacking our brains using dopamine? And if it is, how's it doing it?
Oh, it absolutely is, but maybe not in the way people think. Dopamine isn't purely about pleasure. It's more like the brain's what's next signal.
Ah, okay, anticipation.
Exactly, anticipation, motivation. AI really exploits this, not by giving you constant pleasure, but by keeping you sort of hanging on, always anticipating something. Every little notification, every new video that pops up, it's a tiny, unpredictable reward.
Unpredictable, that's key, right?
Totally key. It triggers that little dopamine spike. It basically turns scrolling into, a kind of micro gambling. And platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, honestly, they are masters of this. They use what scientists call variable rewards.
Like a slot machine.
Precisely like a slot machine. That randomness, that unpredictability, that's what makes it so incredibly compelling. Addictive, really. It creates this really powerful dopamine feedback loop, keeps you coming back. And there was this MIT study, I think it was 2023, it really highlighted this, found that algorithmic feeds boosted time on apps by 39%. Huge number. But here's the kicker. They found a direct link to higher dopamine receptor desensitization, especially in younger users, like 18 to 34.
Desensitization, that sounds not good. What does that actually mean for us? Our brains need more and more just to feel okay, building up a tolerance.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Your brain basically just raises the bar for what feels good, what feels rewarding. The digital world gets us used to these super quick, intense dopamine hits. So then real world stuff, reading a book, a quiet chat, being outdoors.
Yeah.
It starts to feel, less exciting, less stimulating by comparison, because it doesn't have that instant, unpredictable chemical rush. I mean, it's textbook behavioral conditioning, really.
Right.
But it's powered by these incredibly smart neural networks that are learning you constantly.
Okay, so if AI hooks us with these random rewards, what happens when it then starts tailoring everything we see, this whole personalization thing? We're told it's convenient, right? Content just for you. Is it just a helpful feature or is it something else?
Well, it feels convenient, no doubt. But you have to see it also functions as, frankly, behavioral manipulation, a very powerful form. These algorithms, they watch everything. What you click, how long you pause on a video, who you interact with. They build this incredibly detailed digital fingerprint, and then they feed you more the same. But here's where it gets potentially problematic. When the AI starts filtering out things that don't match your existing views or interests,
Right.
it creates these echo chambers. And that doesn't just reinforce the biases you already have. Over time, it can actually subtly reshape your values because you're just not seeing other perspectives. And the impact is real. There was a Pew Research Center survey, 2021, I think, found 62% of U.S. adults believe these social media algorithms are actively making political and cultural divisions worse.
62%.
That's a majority believing it's driving us apart. So it's not just showing us stuff. It might actually be changing what we believe, like nudging us. Absolutely. That's a very real danger. AI can nudge opinions, maybe through just sheer repetition of an idea, or through emotional priming, constantly showing you stuff designed to make you feel angry or happy or scared. Or just by selective exposure, simply never showing you the other side of an argument. And you might not even consciously realize it's happening.
Okay, let's get into the science a bit more. Neuroplasticity. Our brains can change, rewire themselves, we know that. But how is this constant daily interaction with AI literally physically changing our brains? Are we talking actual structural change?
We are. Neuroplasticity is exactly that. The brain's amazing ability to reorganize based on what we do, what we experience, And our constant back and forth with AI, the recommendations, the autofill, finishing your sentences, even photo filters, it tends to encourage, shallower thinking, a focus on quick hits, short-term rewards. We're kind of training our brains to be reactive, not reflective. And the research shows this. Studies indicate reduced activity in prefrontal cortex.
Which is the grown-up part of the brain.
Essentially, your executive control center. Critical thinking, planning, staying focused. That area seems less active, especially in people who are constantly switching between apps, multitasking heavily. And maybe the most striking finding. Stanford researchers found that heavy tech users actually showed reduced gray matter in a part called the anterior cingulate cortex.
Gray matter, like less brain tissue.
Reduced volume, yeah. And that region is crucial for decision-making, managing emotions, controlling impulses.
Reduced gray matter for decision-making and impulse control. That is genuinely worrying. So AI isn't just a helper tool. It might actually be sort of taking over cognitive jobs, outsourcing parts of our thinking.
That is the core concern, yes. The more we rely on AI for things like remembering information, making choices, even just directing our attention, the less we exercise those parts of our own brains. It's really a use it or lose it situation playing out neurologically.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, but related. Mental health. This is serious. What role is AI playing in the rise of anxiety, depression, especially that we're seeing in, say, teens and young adults?
It plays a significant role. These AI-driven social platforms often show us this incredibly polished, distorted version of reality, don't they?
The highlight reel.
Exactly, the endless highlight reel. Perfect bodies, curated success, amazing vacations, things that often feel unattainable. And the algorithm feeds this comparison cycle. It just keeps going, eroding your sense of self-worth, leading to insecurity, low self-esteem, and that horrible feeling of FOMO, fear of missing out. The American Psychological Association, they found teens spending over 3 hours a day on these platforms are 2.5 times more likely to show anxiety and depression symptoms.
2.5 times. And I think, honestly, even as adults, many of us feel that. You're mood dipping if an algorithm changes or if your post doesn't get engagement. It's like performing for this invisible, fickle machine.
You're absolutely right. And it leads to something people are now calling algorithm-induced burnout. Especially if you're a creator or your job, or even just your sense of value, feels tied to how the algorithm rates your stuff.
Likes, reach.
Exactly. Likes, reach, monetization. You're constantly chasing its approval. It's like being on a treadmill you can't get off.
This just brings up a massive question then. Who is actually accountable here? Is it the tech companies building these things? Is it us, the users? Or is the AI itself somehow responsible now?
Look, it's messy. The responsibility is layered. It really is. Tech companies, definitely accountable. They design these systems often purely for engagement. Sometimes, well-being feels like an afterthought.
Right.
Governments, they've been really slow to regulate effectively in a space that moves incredibly fast. And yes, users too, us. We often jump into using these powerful tools without fully grasping their mechanics, or maybe underestimating the influence we're letting them have. We saw the flashpoint with this in 2024. Remember when Italy temporarily banned ChatGPT? Over privacy, mainly? But it kicked off wider talks about algorithmic transparency.
Meaning companies have to explain how the AI decides things.
Exactly. That push to make them open the black box a bit.
Okay, so transparency sounds like a really crucial first step. But it also feels like we need a huge effort in, digital literacy, teaching people not just how the tools work, but how to use them consciously, critically.
Couldn't agree more. Mindful use from us, ethical design from the creators, real accountability from companies and governments. It all has to happen together if we want to navigate this well.
Okay, let's try and end on a more hopeful note. We've talked a lot about the downsides. But can this same AI technology actually help us? Can it improve mental wellness? Is there a paradox here?
There absolutely is a paradox. And yes, AI can definitely be a positive force for mental wellness.
Yeah.
We're seeing it already. Think about mental health chatbots like Wiza or Wobot. They're making basic CBT cognitive behavioral therapy tools accessible to way more people.
Right, therapy support.
Yeah, or AI journaling apps. They can track your mood, help you spot patterns you might miss yourself, and even things like personalized meditation apps that adapt to your stress levels in real time. Pretty amazing, actually.
So the same tech causing some problems can also offer solutions. It really isn't inherently good or bad then. It's about how it's built and how we use it.
That's exactly it. The technology is neutral, fundamentally. It's the intention behind the design and then how we choose to engage with it that dictates its impact. which really puts the ball back in our court, doesn't it? As users, as a society, we need to demand and actively build a healthier digital environment.
Okay, so for you listening right now, let's make this practical. What can we actually do to protect our minds, our focus, our well-being in this age of AI?
Right, actionable things. First, maybe try digital diets. Set real limits on app time. Create tech-free zones or times like no phones at dinner, no phones in the bedroom. Simple but powerful.
Okay.
Second, cultivate what I'd call algorithm awareness. Actively question why you're seeing certain content. Don't just passively consume, ask. What's the incentive behind this post, this video?
Be critical.
Be critical, exactly. Third, use AI tools mindfully. Intentionally choose the ones that genuinely help you for learning, maybe creativity, maybe those wellness apps we talked about. Don't just let them fill time aimlessly. And finally, maybe most importantly, talk about it. Open dialogue. Discuss these things with friends, family, coworkers. The more we all understand what's happening, the more collective power we have to shape it.
Yeah, we can't uninvent AI. That ship has sailed. But we absolutely still have the power to choose how it shapes us, how we interact with it every single day.
Well said. And thank you for tuning into this deep dive. Our goal is always to help you make sense of these complex shifts happening all around us.
We really hope this discussion gave you some things to think about. Maybe today, just try taking a short break. Put the phone down, step away from the screen for a few minutes. Just notice how your mind feels, and maybe mull this over. As AI gets woven deeper into our lives, what responsibility do you feel you have? Not just to understand what it does for you, but what it might be doing to you.